There was a time in my life when I felt completely stuck. I used to have no motivation. I would spend most of the day on the couch scrolling on my phone. I was depressed, and no matter how much I told myself tomorrow I'll change, I just kept slipping back into the same toxic patterns. At one point in my life, things had gotten so bad that I ended up being in a psychiatric hospital for 4 years, and when I came out, most people around me, including myself, didn't think I'd ever be able to turn things around. But fast forward to now, I'm free from any mental illnesses, I'm happier, I'm healthier, I'm disciplined, I'm more focused, I have real purpose to my days, and I have finally started to become the person I always wished I could be. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 practical steps of how I managed to turn everything around and become a disciplined person so that you can do it too. Step number 1 is self-reflection, and this is one of the biggest reasons people fail to make a change, and it's because they never stop to reflect. The thing is, we live in a world that is constantly pulling our attention outwards. We have social media, we have the news, we have our jobs, we have our friends and family, group chats, YouTube, Netflix, the list never ends. And so because of this constant busyness and distraction, most of us never pause to actually just ask ourselves, how am I currently feeling? What do I actually want? Why do I keep on doing this behavior? Self-reflection actually gives you that moment to pause and actually be honest with yourself. And this is the first step to creating real change, understanding where you are and why you feel stuck. There's a quote by Socrates the philosopher that says, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." And it's true, you can't expect yourself to begin making changes when you don't even understand yourself. Most of us just go through life reacting to our emotions and thoughts, and we remain completely unaware as to why we act the way we do. We're bored, so we open up social media. We're stressed, so we eat a donut. We feel lonely, so we start watching porn. We feel insecure, so we start shouting at our partner. We react to things without stopping to understand what is really going on beneath those urges. And so because of that, our impulses then run the show, and we end up stuck in the cycle of self-sabotaging behaviors, even when we know deep down that these behaviors are not good for us. The truth is, if you don't take time to self-reflect, you'll never learn from your own mistakes. You'll miss the lessons that life is trying to teach you, and instead you'll stay stuck in the same toxic patterns, constantly being distracted and disconnected from yourself. People who constantly avoid being alone are usually running away from something. They're running away from pain, they're running away from having to face parts of themselves that they don't like. They're running from emotions like boredom, loneliness, or sadness. And I know what you're probably thinking. You want me to spend time alone with my thoughts? Yes, and if the idea of that makes you feel uncomfortable, then that's exactly why you need it. You'll never be free from your own impulses or distractions if you don't understand where they come from. And this is where self-reflection can help you. So here are 4 different ways you can start trying to practice self-reflection. Number 1, go for walks by yourself. Take out the music, no headphones, and make sure to put your phone on silent. Number 2, journaling. Get a piece of paper and write down all of your emotions and feelings, and just use that space to get curious about yourself. The third way is doing some meditation, even just taking 5 minutes a day in silence. And number 4, one of my personal faves, is do nothing. Literally nothing. Don't go on your phone, don't read a book, turn off the TV, turn off the music, and be with yourself. I promise you, you will learn a lot from yourself. Now, step number 2 is to have clarity on your end vision. If you want to become somebody different and build up better habits, well, you need to know who it is that you are becoming, and most importantly, why it is that you want to become them. Let's explain this with an analogy, but let's imagine that life is just one big road trip and you are the car driving along the roads. And every single day, whether you like it or not, the car is moving forwards. There's no stopping it. And so if you don't have a clear destination in mind and you don't know where you're heading, guess what happens? You just start driving all over the place. Your friend says, "Hey, meet me here," so you take a turn. Then your parents say, "Hey, you need to go to college," so you take a different turn. Social media is then telling you that you need to get this skill, so then you leave college and then you take a different turn. And one day you look out the window of the car and you realize, where the hell am I? How did I end up here? I'm so unhappy with my life. And the reason this happens is because you never chose an end destination. You were just drifting, moving moving forward but without any real direction. Although the car kept moving, you were sat in the passenger seat and you didn't take control of the wheel. And this point follows on nicely from the last point, because self-reflection will also help you to gain clarity of your vision. Like I mentioned before, because we live in such a busy and overwhelming world, we have this constant input from everyone around us, and this constant noise can make us feel really lost. It's like you're trying to figure out where you should go on your road trip, but person A is telling you that you should go to India because India is amazing. But person B is saying, no, you should go to Africa. Haven't you been there before? But your parents are saying, no, you should go to the UK. What are you doing? And with all of this pulling in different directions, we get distracted and influenced by the people around us. And then we end up losing touch of what we really want. And so to get some clarity on your vision, you need to take some time to self-reflect and ask yourself some important questions. What parts of my life aren't working right now? Where do I want to be? What changes do I want to make? And why do these changes matter so much to me? Who is it that I want to become? What habits am I unhappy with, and what do I want to leave behind? These questions will help you to become more honest with yourself, and you'll start to shape a vision in your head of the life that you want to start working towards. And your vision might not become clear right away, and that's totally okay and normal. It may take a bit of time, but if you keep on creating the space to zone out your distractions and really listen to yourself, eventually things will become clearer. And then once you have a vision in your mind and you know where you're going, that's when things will start to shift. Because now you're no longer reacting to life, but you have some direction. For example, maybe you want to get healthier because you're unhappy with your weight. Maybe you want to start looking for a better job because you're currently unhappy with your money. Maybe you feel unfulfilled in your relationships or friendships and you want to meet more people. When you gain clarity about what is not working, now is when you can finally begin to take real intentional steps forward and start creating the life that you really want. Also, just as a side note, I'm going to be releasing a video soon on how to gain clarity on your goals if you're feeling lost, and what practical steps you can take in order to find your direction. Now, step number 3 is surround yourself with the right influences. The fastest way to shift who you are is to shift your surroundings and your environment. You need to surround yourself with constant daily reminders of who it is that you are becoming. And when I say the right influences, I'm not just talking about people, but I'm talking about everything. The books you read, the content you consume online, the people you follow or subscribe to, music you listen to, the places you spend time, the people who you surround yourself with. Every single area of your life matters. And so imagine the future version of you and ask yourself, what would they be doing? Start going to the places where your future self would hang out. For example, if you want to be fitter and healthier, well then start going to those places. Go to swimming pools, go to gyms, go to yoga classes, go to fitness classes. Or let's take the example that you're an aspiring artist and you're just starting out and your confidence is lacking. Well, what would the future version of you be doing? They'd probably be in art classes. They'd probably be in drawing classes, in art galleries. They'd be following other artists on social media and surrounding their space with inspiring art. Make sure that everywhere you go, you are getting a reminder that you are an artist, because this is the identity that you are now creating. Honestly, I'm so selective of what I give my attention to. The only people who I follow online are people who are fitter than me, they're more successful than me, they're smarter than me, because I'm constantly learning from them. They are my daily reminders of who I aspire to be, and I don't have any other social media, so I don't know what anybody else is doing. I don't know what any of my friends are doing. I don't know what any of my family is doing, and I don't want to know. Everything that I surround myself with is a daily reminder of my values and my goals. My books and podcasts are all about health and fitness and psychology. My yoga mat and workout gear is always out and ready. My journal and my books are spread out across my room so I see them every day. My goals are on my wall, so are some quotes. Some quotes are also on my desk beside my laptop. I have little reminders everywhere to remind me of certain things that I'm working towards. I have set up my environment to constantly remind me of the identity that I am creating. But along with your environment and the things that you watch and consume, who you spend your time with is just as important, if not more important. The thing is, we're social creatures, and so much research and studies show that we naturally tend to adapt ourselves in order to fit in with the people around us. And so if you don't surround yourself with people who share similar values or goals with you, then it's going to be much harder for you to stay on track. For example, let's say that you want to get healthier, but your whole friend group doesn't care about fitness or health. And every time you hang out, all they want to do is party and drink and have junk food. Is this the kind of environment that supports that new version of you? No. In fact, it's actively working against the person that you're trying to become. Now, I'm not saying that you need to cut off your friends or anything like that, but you do need to become more aware of if your environment is holding you back and be intentional of who you choose to spend your time with. Personally, I've had many periods in my life where I've had to let people go in order to grow into the next version of me. And honestly, sometimes this is very necessary to do. When I look back at certain groups of people in my life, if I didn't move on from them, I would have stayed so stuck. I would have stayed so limited. For example, when I came out of hospital, because I had been there for so long, I got discharged into this like supported community housing. So it's basically like a middle house where you don't get discharged home because it's too overwhelming, but it's like a step down into the community with support from staff. And I basically lived there for like 2 years with other young people who had also been discharged from different hospitals. And so the one thing that we all had in common was mental health. But as I started to slowly work on myself and try and change who I was, I didn't want to talk about mental health all the time. I didn't want all the conversations to be about labels or diagnoses or struggles, but I wanted to focus on growth and I wanted to focus on doing better. However, there came a point where every time I saw those friends, I felt like I was being held back. They still saw me as the Heather who had mental health issues, and so I felt so limited. I kept having to play small, and I felt like I couldn't grow into this new version of me. They were constantly caught up in their own challenges, which I understand, but that energy was dragging me down all the time. And in the end, I had to outgrow that space and leave some people behind in order to move forward. And so you have to be very intentional on who and what you surround yourself with. Make sure everything around you aligns with the new version of you that you are creating. I just wanted to quickly let you know that if you are someone who is struggling to build up better habits, then click the top link in the video description to join the free 30-day discipline challenge course and community, in which you'll get access to resources, videos, tips, and you'll be added to a private community with like-minded people who are also working on themselves and will help to motivate you and keep you accountable. I hope to see you in there. Step number 4 is to start small. So now that you have a vision in your mind of the identity that you're trying to create, you want to start making small actionable steps in that direction. Big changes don't happen overnight, and trying to tackle every single one of your behaviors at once is a recipe for disaster. You'll end up feeling overwhelmed, burn yourself out, and then you'll give up completely. And so instead, pick one area of your life that you're going to focus on and start making small steps to improve that area. For example, let's say you want to become healthier. Well, instead of trying to go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week and change all of your meals to smoothies and salads, instead just start simple by going for an hour walk 3 times a week. Or begin by making your breakfast a healthier choice for the first week, and then once that feels solid and easier to do, then the next week focus on improving your lunch. It's important to build consistency first, and then intensity can come later. Here is the harsh truth. There's 2 paths in life. Number 1, the path of quick fixes, and number 2, the path of slow and real change. And most people try and choose the first path, as did I for many years, which is why I remained stuck. I wanted instant results because I was impatient, and I would try and force myself to go to the gym 5 times a week and overhaul my entire diet overnight. And these things never ended up sticking because it was unsustainable. And eventually I had to face the truth. Real change takes time. It takes consistency, and you have to be willing to put in the effort up front whilst not getting immediate results and just trusting in the process. No one walks into the gym for the first time and starts lifting the heaviest weights. You have to build it up. And it's the exact same with becoming a better version of yourself. Consistency will always matter more than intensity. So start small, choose one area of your life, make a commitment to yourself, keep on showing up, And this is how real change begins. Now, the fifth step is to create systems and rules. You can't expect to become a new version of yourself while still clinging to your old habits. Real change will require structure and making some sacrifices. And that might mean keeping junk food out of the house if you want to get healthier, or logging out of your social media accounts for the day if you want to become more focused and productive. The truth is, motivation comes and goes, and so it's not reliable. But creating systems will protect you from falling back into your old unconscious patterns. Here are a few examples of my systems and rules that I've put in place for me. Number 1, I have no social media apps on my phone. If I need to use something or find something, I download the app, do the activity, and then I delete it again. Number 2, I've created a rule for my content consumption. During my recent 30-day discipline challenge, I created the rule that I'm only allowed to watch 3 videos every Sunday. But the rest of the week I stay offline and I use my time in other ways. Another rule is no junk food in the house, because if it's not there, then I can't mindlessly reach for it. I always keep fresh fruit in the fridge, and so if I want a snack, there is something there. And if I really want something sweet, well then I'm allowed to go out and get it, but most of the time I'm just too lazy, and so this rule works. These systems have helped me to create structure around the habits that once used to derail me. Because when I used to do whatever I wanted, and I didn't have any structure at all, I'd often end up scrolling for hours or snacking out of boredom. And so now these systems and rules protect my health, my focus, and time. And so here's a few quick tips to building your own systems and rules. Number 1, change your environment by making the good option easier. So for example, add in good cues such as books, journals, have your water bottle in front of you, have your workout gear ready, have fresh fruit and healthy snacks available, and focus on removing temptations such as social media apps, junk food, clutter. Now the second way is to set clear boundaries. For example, decide when, where, and how you will engage with certain habits. So for example, you could set the boundary that I will have no junk food in the house. Or the boundary could be that I will keep my phone out of my bedroom. Or when I'm working and focusing, my phone has to be across the room from me. And the third way is to use time-based limits. So for example, you might say no screens until after 8 a.m. after breakfast. Or I'm only allowed to check my email twice per day at this time and this time. Or I'll allow myself to scroll at 7 p.m. for 30 minutes. Creating systems might sound restrictive at first, but actually they're very freeing. These rules will help to give you clarity, which will stop you from relying on willpower during the day, which then makes it easier to stick to the good habits which support your goals. Click here to learn how to stop feeling overwhelmed with your goals by creating a plan that actually works, and I hope this video could have helped you. All the best.